Welcome back to Detective Pikachu Returns. Last time we deduced that the person cut open the case to steal the Aurora drop, and there's cotton everywhere from the cotton. After investigating the scene, we now know how the crime was carried out.
We can be certain that the culprit sliced open the case and took the jewel from inside. There's just one thing that's strange.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Tim. What's strange about the way the crime was committed?
Glass was cut, but the door wasn't. The door to the storage room was opened with a key. The jewel case was still locked when it was sliced apart.
That's right. This means the thief only had one of the keys, the one to the storage room. He didn't have the key to the jewel case.
According to Mr. Dennis, only he and Barnes can access the jewel storage room. I understand why the police suspect Barnes, but I'm not so sure.
Obviously, it'd be best if we could talk to Barnes ourselves, but he's still being questioned.
We need to ask Mr. Dennis about the lock on the jewel case.
Right, after we wrap up here, let's go ask him.
How's the investigation going, Tim? Oh, Mr. Dennis. Sorry, I couldn't stand just waiting around. Have you discovered anything? It does appear that the culprit used the storage room key to gain entry. We believe they then cut open the jewel case and took the Aurora drop. Is that so? I suppose that doesn't help Barnes so much, since he has access to the key. I have a question for you, Mr. Dennis. Who has the key to the jewel case? I have it right here. I always carry the key to the jewel case on my person. I've known Barnes a very long time, but I still won't give him this key. Security of the jewel case is my personal responsibility. Personal responsibility.
Got it. So both Barnes and Dennis can access the key to the jewel storage room.
But only Mr. Dennis has access to the key to the jewel case itself. That's valuable information, Mr. Dennis. Thank you. Really? I thought I might be getting in the way, but I'm glad to hear I could help. The Aurora drop is meant to become a symbol of a revival for Rhyme City. Anyway, I'm counting on you, Tim.
A symbol of revival? Let's ask Dennis about that later. The thief cut open the case to steal the jewel, but they had the key to get into the storage room. The only people who have access to that key are Dennis and Barnes, so it makes sense that the police would suspect Barnes.
If the key hadn't been used to unlock the storage room, Barnes wouldn't be under suspicion in the first place. Why would he do that knowing people would suspect him?
Maybe he didn't think that far ahead. In any case, based on what we found at the scene of the crime, we can't be certain of anything just yet.
Gotta love my creaky chair. We need to talk to Barnes and the other people in the mansion that hear what they have to say.
Not just the people, Pokemon too. I'll interpret for you when we talk to them.
Alright, I'm counting on you, Pikachu.
Okay, now that we've got our next steps figured out, let's start interviewing everyone right away.
Begin deducing.
Hey Tim, there's something on the floor by the window. Should we check it out?
Another blue feather.
Oh.
What's all this? Pokemon feathers?
Sure looks like it. They're scattered all over the floor and the window's open.
Thinking maybe a ducklet?
Maybe a Pokemon got in or out through here?
Think it has anything to do with this case?
Look at this. One of these feathers is darker than the others.
You're right, the other 6 are a lighter shade of blue.
Something about that is nagging at
me. Maybe a Corvisquire? Shit. God damn it. Right, now can I ask the Growlithe what's up?
Cheer up, Growlithe.
He's the one that should have the information, right? Got one of the keys, he could tell us for sure if he gave one away.
Yes?
You look
You
important.
certainly don't look like you're with the police.
Excuse me. Claudia Dennis, Sanjeev Dennis's wife. She looks like she could have done it. We're detectives. Mr. Dennis asked us to investigate the incident that occurred here. Wait, why on earth would it, like, tell us her name, but then have a mystery for her name on the very next screen? Detectives? Oh, I suppose my husband did say something about that. Your husband? That must mean you're Claudia Dennis, Sanjeev's wife. I'm sorry to bother you, but do you mind if we ask you some questions? I do mind, actually. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. This case has already been solved. What do you mean? The police said that Barnes is behind all this, so the matter's settled. You've heard he's under suspicion, yes. But you can't be certain it was Barnes who committed the crime. You sound just like my husband. Nothing you say will change the fact that Barnes is the culprit. This lady definitely did it. Barnes Puckler Ducklet was up to no good. I saw it with my own eyes. Okay, so I was right about those big ducklet feathers, but I think the ducklet feathers were placed to hide the. Well, why would you just pick up the darker feather? But I was right about them being ducklet feathers. I can't believe I actually got that right just based on the shade of blue. Did you witness the crime? Barnes's partner, Barnes's partner Ducklet was involved in the crime? Look as though you don't believe me.
Excuse me?
Is it true that you witnessed the crime? Well, I didn't exactly see it clearly. Huh? I did witness some irrefutable proof. What exactly did you see? At the time of the incident, I was enjoying a cup of tea in my room on the second floor. Just then, I noticed a bird Pokemon flying outside the window. A bird Pokemon? Yes, I clearly saw a blue bird Pokemon. It had to have been Ducklet. We did find blue feathers near the window and in the storage room. So those were Ducklets. I think the light blue ones were, the dark blue one was not. In hindsight, she was obviously stealing the jewel. I also heard a faint sound just before that, like something metallic. I bet the Ducklet was chasing the whoever actually took the jewel. A metallic sound? Do you know what could have made that noise? No, I don't, but the storage room was ransacked, wasn't it? Suppose she must have broken something in the act. And I've heard it confirmed that Ducklet's feathers were found in the room. Isn't that proof enough that Barnes is the culprit? She's pretty darn convinced of her own theory. But it's all based on a metallic sound and the sight of a flying blue bird Pokemon. Pretty flimsy, if you ask me. It seems like a Corvusquire shade of blue. The Corvusquire isn't completely blue. Or I guess it could be Rookitty, but I'm thinking more of a Corvusquire. What else is that shade of blue that's flying that has feathers? Not like obviously something like Altaria wouldn't count. Swablu, because I don't think their main body is feathered. I guess it might be. I'm sorry, Mrs. Status, but that information alone isn't enough to definitively prove Barnes is the culprit. And hurry up and find whoever is and get that jewel back. Isn't that what my husband hired you for? I get that she's upset. She doesn't have to take it out on us.
Excuse me?
Mr. Dennis seems confident that Barnes is innocent. Oh yes, I'm sure he is. He's always been too trusting, especially when it comes to Barnes. Those two really trust each other that much? I'm told Barnes has worked here for a very long time. Much longer, in fact, than I've known Sanjeev. I suppose that's why Barnes is always taking my husband's side. What do you mean by that? Whenever my husband and I have a disagreement, Barnes inevitably sides with Sanjeev, even though I'm sure he believes he's being impartial. That lack of self-awareness is yet another one of his many flaws. I get the feeling Claudia is not a huge fan of Barnes. I'm not really a huge fan of Claudia. You'd think that's why she's so sure he's the thief.
Excuse me?
Can you tell me more about Ducklet? Ducklet is Barnes' partner. She dotes on him tirelessly and is always by his side. You mentioned earlier that she might be involved in the crime somehow. Would Ducklet be capable of such a thing? Yes, she even helps Barnes out with his shopping. She'd certainly be capable of making off with the jewel.
Well, whether or not Ducklet stole the jewel, the one thing that seems certain is she really loves Barnes.
A Ducklet can't shoot a laser beam to cut this thing open, though.
Yes?
The Aurora Drop is an incredibly valuable jewel. Mr. Dennis told me the same thing. But do you really understand? Can you even comprehend just how valuable it is? Huh? I knew it. Just look at those blank expressions.
That's not our fault. The developers just really didn't feel like putting more animation into the game. But hey, my face always looks like this.
As it is, I'm not even sure my husband understands the true value of that jewel. After getting his hands on something so precious, why would he want to donate it to Rhyme City? So you're against donating the Aurora Drop? Of course I am. Treasures like that aren't meant to be paraded about for the general public. She definitely stole it. Or arranged for it, at least. It should be preserved for quiet observation by a select few.
Hard to imagine her quietly doing anything.
Alright, Clefable. You're probably nicer. Ah.
Oh, it's Clefable. This is Dennis's partner, apparently. Can I ask you a few questions? Whoa, what gives? No need to be so rude.
What's wrong?
Seems like she's real suspicious of us. Maybe she's feeling sensitive after the incident here.
I hate how loud this freaking creak is.
Hello there, Detective Tim. Oh, I mean, Detective Goodman?
Larry Turner, newest staff member of the Dennis residence. Wait, you are the detective, right?
That's what Mr. Dennis said, at least.
The name's... Wait, that's not proper enough. Sorry, my name is Larry Turner. I'm a member of the house staff.
House staff, huh? Seems in over his head.
If you need anything, just let me know. I mean, please inform me if... You really don't have to be so formal with us. Thanks, that's a huge relief. I got this job a while ago, but I'm still not used to talking all fancy. Uh-oh, is that a problem? Well, it is a good thing for me that Barnes deals with all the important guests. My main duties are taking care of the Pokemon, managing the house, and groundskeeping. I can handle all that, no problem.
I don't know. This guy isn't exactly filling me with confidence in his ability to do his job.
I'm not that turned away by him. Turned away by him. Anyway, you wanted to ask about what happened, right?
I mean, I already told the police everything I know.
I'm really sorry for taking up more of your time. Oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. I'm not complaining or anything. It's just that I don't remember what happened very well. Something attacked me out of nowhere and I blacked out.
Something attacked him. So, not the thief, then.
Can you please tell us more about that, Mr. Turner? Sure, no problem. Right, so where to start? I was just doing my job like normal today. I'd made food for the Pokemon, did some cleaning around the mansion, that sort of thing. I think I was tidying the garden when it happened. I saw Ducklet fly out of a second-story window. And as I recall, I wondered where she was going. I mean, usually Ducklet just walks out the front door. It seemed weird to me, so I went upstairs to see what was going on. That's when I saw that the door to the jewel cage storage room was wide open. As if that wasn't shocking enough, the moment I went to look inside, I suddenly got punched by a Pokemon. Next thing I knew, I was lying on a sofa and someone was treating my wounds. Pokemon punched you? Yeah, I feel like I glimpsed a small red figure for just a moment. Small, red, and punched him. Based on the size, it couldn't have been human, so I'm guessing it was Pokemon. A red Pokemon. Do you know what kind it was? I'm really not sure. It all happened so fast. See, I'm sorry that it happened to you. But I'm glad you weren't seriously hurt. That's what the doctor said too. No Pokemon would want to steal the Aurora Drop. It's possible that the corporate ordered their partner Pokemon to swipe the jewel and punch out Turner. So, Tim, now that you've heard Turner's story, what do you think? We need to find the ducklet that flew out the window, and that red Pokemon too. Yep, you got it. Small, red, and punched. I can't think of anything.
Excuse me?
Did you see anything else when the Pokemon attacked you? The thief who brought the Pokemon along was probably nearby. Unfortunately, that's all I saw. I see. You think of any other details that might give us a clue about the culprit? Nothing in particular is coming to mind. I mean, Mr. Dennis is such a nice person. Never heard of anyone holding a grudge against him. And I was really surprised to hear that Barnes is a suspect. You don't think Barnes is responsible? I guess the police must have some reason to suspect him, but honestly, I just can't believe it. Barnes is still showing me the ropes around here. He's a great co-worker with tons of experience. I mean, if you'd known Barnes before all this, you could have never imagined him being a thief.
Excuse me?
You know anything about the stolen jewel? The Aurora Drop? Never seen the thing. It's been shut up in that storage room ever since it was brought to the house. Of course, I know it's valuable and all. I assume that's what's been causing all the arguments between Mr. and Mrs. Dennis lately. What sort of arguments? In case you haven't heard, Mr. Dennis says he's going to donate the Aurora Drop. Seems like Mrs. Dennis is against that plan. They've been fighting about it almost nightly. Every night? Really must be a point of contention. I guess Mrs. Dennis just doesn't want to give up such a valuable jewel. So the Aurora Drop's been driving a wedge between husband and wife, eh? Alright. Talk to the Manectric, maybe. Hey, I have a couple questions to ask. Got a moment? Don't want to waste time chatting while you're on duty, huh? Awfully stubborn, aren't you? Even harder to talk to than Brad's Manectric. Yeah, so back upstairs then. We may be investigating a crime, but we should still respect the residents' privacy. Shouldn't go barging into rooms that have nothing to do with the case, Tim. True, we need to focus on the jewel storage room. Jim's currently being searched by the police. Okay. This is the jewel storage room, the scene of the crime. Okay. I guess that just leaves you and the other detective again.
Excuse me?
Barnes, I'm supposed to join in, right? I'm afraid you can't even allow the great detective Tim to do that. Police protocols, you understand? I take it you've heard what Mr. Dennis has to say. I'm guessing he also told you about his butler. He's definitely not pleased that Barnes has fallen under suspicion. I don't remember the voice I was doing for Holiday, to be honest with you. Sure seems that way. In my position, I'm not at liberty to share all the information we've gathered. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Thank you. And that's going to be the end of this episode. So thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.